BJU Press at the time had a French course and a video course for it. And so I was like, all right, I guess we're going to have to do the video course. I talked to one of our video teachers, and her explanation of what the video teachers do. And, she was just as patient with me as she, is at conventions with other parents explaining the process. She said, we're not there to take your job away from you. We're there to help you do it better. And she used the example of when the Israelites were fighting the Amalekites. And she said, when Moses was standing up there and he would raise his arms, they would have victory. And when he would get tired and put his arms down, they would lose. And she said, and Aaron and Hur came and held his arms up. She said, that's what we're doing. Our job is to come alongside tired homeschool moms and help you keep your arms up.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Zan Tyler podcast, where our goal is to help you thrive in your homeschool journey. Let me take just a minute to ask you to please subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen or watch, including YouTube. And if this podcast has been encouraging to you, please leave us a good review. Each review really does help. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram as well. I'm excited about having two guests with me today, Abbie Knott and Veronica Whitley. Abbie's mother homeschooled her for 10 years while she was growing up, and in turn, Abbie has homeschooled her 4 children for a little over 10 years now. Abbie has a heart to serve homeschool moms, which is why she decided to become a homeworks consultant. Veronica Whitley is a pastor's wife and homeschool mom of 4. She has her BA in Christian education from the Masters University and is passionate about viewing academics through the lens of Scripture. While she once said she would never homeschool, today she has been homeschooling for over 15 years. And as a homeworks consultant, as a homeworks by precept consultant, she also has the privilege of helping, encouraging, and walking along other homeschool moms. So both Abbie and Veronica have had many years' experience not only homeschooling, but in walking beside other homeschool moms and helping them learn how to be more effective in their tasks. They pray for the parents they work with. They help them in a number of ways, and it's just a real privilege and pleasure to have them with me today. This podcast is brought to you by BJU Press Homeschool. Homeschooling is an exciting adventure we take with our children. One of the most challenging parts of this journey is choosing the curriculum you want to use. BJU Press Homeschool is a curriculum you can trust. All the books, resources, and videos have been designed with you and your child in mind. Their curriculum is educationally robust and rich, taking into account that children have different learning styles, strengths, and needs. Mom, you are in charge. BJU Press Homeschool is here to come alongside and support you. Do you need help with the teaching load, or is there a subject you just don't want to teach? Their amazing video courses are available for all grades and almost every subject. BJU Press Homeschool believes that homeschooling can produce a new generation of students who know God, love their neighbors, and stand firm in their faith. For more information, go to bjupresshomeschool.com. That's bjupresshomeschool.com. I am so excited this morning to have two of my really good friends with me here for the podcast, Abbie Knott and Veronica Whitley. Thank you so much for being here with me today.
Absolutely. It's great to be here.
Yeah, definitely.
And this is, we rarely have two guests at a time, and but because we all know each other so well, and Abbie and Veronica do a lot of not podcasting together, but broadcasting together, and different types of Facebook parties and all types of stuff. We figured that this would really be a great experiment. So our goal today really is to answer the questions you have at this time of year. Sometimes you plan in the summer. I think making the decision to homeschool is often harder than homeschooling itself, because once you make the decision, you're all in. You're not paralyzed by the fear of it so much. And then you buy the curriculum, you're excited, September comes and goes, and then it's October. And so, you're really getting into the meat of things. Some people are thinking, man, this is a piece of cake. Other people are thinking, what have I gotten into? So we're going to hear the stories first of how Veronica and Abbie actually got into homeschooling, why they love it, and why they've continued with it. So, Veronica, why don't you just tell us a little bit about your family and your homeschooling experience?
Okay, I've got 4 kids, and homeschooling was not my original plan. I was not homeschooled. I grew up with homeschooled friends who I hope they'll forgive me, but they were weird. And I just thought homeschoolers were odd. It was a weird thing to do. And I was like, I'm never going to do that to my kids. And then we had our oldest, and my husband's a pastor. So he was in seminary. We knew the possibility of moving was in our future. And didn't wanna pull her out of school to move to a new state, city, environment, so I thought, "Well, we'll just start, looking into homeschooling as kind of a temporary fix." I had researched it, wanted to do it, but, it was kind of one of those, like, we'll just take it year by year, and as I got into, looking into it, I fell in love with the idea, and, here we are 16 years later with a graduate and, 3 still homeschooling and still loving it.
That is amazing. So, Abby, how did you get into homeschooling?
So I'm kind of the exact opposite. I always wanted to homeschool because I grew up homeschooled. I did graduate from public school, but only 3 years of high school in public school. So my entire childhood was homeschool and I loved it. It gave me so much time to explore my personal interests. So I didn't know why anybody would choose anything else. Um, I've now been homeschooling. My oldest is actually so we kind of skipped her junior year and she's now a senior, but she's also taking 2 college classes. So it's been a crazy 12 years, I think, with all 4 kids.
Let me ask you this question, Abby, and your answer may be a little bit different than Veronica's. So you were so well acquainted with homeschooling when you started. Was it your aim to homeschool all the way through high school, or did you think you'd take it a year at a time? Or what's kept you homeschooling, I guess, is my question.
I wanted to homeschool as long as possible. I just felt like for me personally, it just was the best choice because I was one of those kids that I learned very quickly. And when I got something, I would just work ahead until I didn't know, and then I'd learn more. And I felt when I went to high school, that was no longer allowed, and I felt like it was such a huge waste of time. I felt like the day spent in classrooms listening to teachers teach things that I knew was wasting time that I had other things I could be doing. So, I felt like if my kids were like that, then I should just let them have the opportunity to work themselves to where they felt comfortable without wasting
Oh,
time.
well, that is really an interesting perspective, and I really do we're gonna talk about high school a lot in a few minutes, but I think, for those who are not as familiar with homeschooling, the thought of homeschooling in high school can be so overwhelming, and can I really prepare my kids? So, we'll talk about that in just a minute, but Veronica, tell us why you kept as after you had homeschooled for a couple of years, what kept you homeschooling? Was it the relationship with the kids? What was it the academics? What was it?
Yeah, my oldest was our only child for a long time. There's a pretty big, age gap between her and my son, and, so when we started, I mean, we were just having fun, like, I loved the one-on-one time with her, and then as our younger children were born, it kind of was dawning on me, like, if I sent her to school, she would miss their baby years, their toddler years, like, they would grow up kind of not knowing her, and, um, so, I mean, it wasn't really necessarily our intent, to build their relationships and their friendships, but, it's kind of been one of those unexpected blessings is just seeing how close they are. And, she's away at college now and they talk on the phone, they text each other little inside jokes and, they're talking to her and I'm like, okay, what's she doing? Tell me what's up with her. Cause, she's, but I love that they're, even though there's a 7, 8, and 10-year age gap between them, like, they talk all the time. They're really good friends, and she constantly says she misses them. So, I just love that, and so that became just a great side benefit of it, but yeah, once we got into it, there was no turning back.
I think sometimes those side benefits are some of the greatest joys the Lord gives us. So I know both of you, Abbie, you have a daughter who's taking some dual enrollment classes right now. And then you have a daughter who's in college. So how do you feel homeschooling prepared your girls for college?
Emma is doing 2 classes right now through Grand Canyon University online. And when we first enrolled her, we talked to the guidance counselor with her, and she said that most kids cannot handle more than 1 dual enrollment class at a time. And we signed her up for 2. We staggered the start dates so she could adjust. She's amazing. And I don't know if it's just her personality or if it's just the courses we've used. I taught them to work on schedules. So for me personally, scheduling was important. Them learning to maintain a schedule was important. So she is being able to schedule herself and look ahead and see how to do this so she can control her own schedule, because I gave her that responsibility from about 5th grade where she needed to maintain it. So for her, that was one of the biggest things for me to prepare her, was how to schedule yourself and use your time wisely. And she's been able to do that.
Well, it's like you said, when we were just beginning, Abbie, that when kids are homeschooled in high school, they have so much freedom to pursue things they love, the entrepreneurship opportunities, the service opportunities. Shadowing somebody like that is really amazing.
Oh yeah.
So, Veronica, tell us a little bit about your daughter in college and how you feel like homeschooling prepared her for that.
Yeah, that one is the one I worried about, I think, the most. She was never time management was something we worked on constantly with her. She just was she's always been very easygoing, which is fantastic because nothing really phases her. But at the same time, as her mom, that concerned me because I was like, you need to be concerned about getting this done, fulfilling your responsibilities. So we really did work on scheduling and time management too. It took a while for that to kind of take, but she was home for 2 years after she graduated from high school. She worked essentially a full-time job. She took a full load of courses at our local junior college and just, honestly kind of amazed me with how well she handled it all. She would come home and she's like, "Mom, this is so easy." She's like, "I did harder stuff, in high school. I did, um, her papers, she was getting really high grades on papers because she learned how to write and, how to express herself clearly, and she was able to manage the workload, the job, even friendships, and it kept up with some outside activities, and so it was really neat to see, and then now being out of our home and watching her, from afar kind of manage all of those the social aspect of things, going to class on time, getting up on time, and I'm not there to, like, be that safety net, and she is, absolutely fantastic. I always say I wanna be like her when I grow up. She is just the sweetest person.
It is so great to see your girls succeeding in the role. So, BJU Press Homeschool is the sponsor for the podcast, and I'm so grateful to them. We used BJU Press when my kids were growing up, and it sounds like I'd like for you each to tell me. I know you each have chosen BJU Press Homeschool curriculum, how you feel like the curriculum itself played a part in preparing your girls for college. So, Abbie, if you want to take that first, and then Veronica, that'd be great.
So, it, as far as like what Veronica said with the writing, the English courses are amazing because they teach the writing process from literally from kindergarten. They start teaching how to write and how to think through your writing. So there's planning, there is sentence structure, there's grammar, like there's everything. So Emma is taking an English course this year and she has gotten 100% on every single writing assignment. And the only comments from her teacher are, "This is excellent. Excellent thought process. I can see your planning," like that kind of thing. And I was amazed because I was like, okay, it's a college course. There's got to be something that your teacher can teach you. And so far, it seems like Emma's just like acing the course, and it's amazing. Same with the math. Like the math is teaching such good critical thinking skills and comprehension skills that she is not struggling with these courses because she has been taught to think and not just memorize. So for me, that felt like the best way to prepare them.
One of the things that I have always loved, that has been in the BJU Press homeschool curriculum from the very beginning, they've worked so hard to make it so homeschool friendly now, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But even back in the 80s when I began using it, is the biblical worldview, which is second to none, the way I see it. And the other thing is that it just has so many opportunities to build those critical thinking skills. And if you talk to classroom teachers today, they'll say, "Oh, the dearth of critical thinking, I mean, is epidemic." So that's really important. What about you, Veronica? How did do you feel like the curriculum played a part in preparing your daughter for college?
Absolutely. I mean, the biblical worldview was like the top thing on our list as far as what we wanted. Whether we were sending our kids to school or homeschooling, that was going to be sort of the deciding factor. And but with BJU Press, it's funny because I used it as a student in a Christian school, so um, I was familiar with it from a student's perspective. I really felt well prepared going into college. Like Abby said with math, my daughter was a little bit scared going into one of her math classes because I don't know, just the phrase college algebra just made it sound scarier. And she came downstairs after doing her homework and she's like, "Mom, I learned all this. This isn't hard." Like, no, if you learn it and you know the steps, like Abby said, they teach them how to think. It wasn't just that she had memorized facts. Um, it wasn't that, this was all new information. This was just a review for her. And so I think that just built her confidence. She took some classes at our local junior college the first couple of years and definitely not taught from a biblical worldview. She had actually one fantastic Christian teacher, which she really appreciated, but she had to deal with some differing worldviews than what she was taught and had to interact with her classmates. She had assignments to be in discussion groups. She had to write papers and interact with her professors. And she had to do that intelligently and respectfully. And she came home so many times going, "Mom, my biblical worldview class taught me how to deal with this. It taught me how to address these issues and talk through them with people." And she's like, "We don't agree," but she's like, "I'm not scared to tell people what I believe because I know how to do it." And I think hearing that was just it it was so encouraging because she was taking what she had learned in high school, and really, that was her first challenge to her belief system, to her convictions, that she had really ever received, both in her classes and with some of her friends at work. And seeing her be able to coherently explain her beliefs, to defend her beliefs, and still remain friends with these people, for her teachers to, like Abby said, mark on her papers, you know, this is not scientific, this is not, but you explained it very well. Thank you for being respectful. She still got A's on those papers. So it wasn't like her belief system was harming her education. And, she really had to practice, what she says she believes. So, that seeing that in that environment, she's now at a Christian college, so that challenge isn't there, but, which is, I think, a relief to her as well, in a sense, but, yeah, it prepared her so well to stand for, her convictions and for scripture.
So, one of the reasons I wanted to start with you both here is I heard as a young homeschool mom, well, not real young because I didn't know anybody for a few years, but one of the first workshops I heard was beginning with the end in mind. And they said, "We want you to look at the end product of what you want your children to be like when they graduate from your home." I really wanted, the moms and dads who are listening and watching today to see the end result. So now we can go back and talk about where they are, because if you feel like your children for us as believers, we want our kids to leave home with their faith intact, and we want them to be able to walk through life and share their faith and not fall prey to the attacks of the culture. I mean, so that's number one. And both of your girls are there, and that's what we just wanted for our children. And number two, you want to see that they're prepared for where they're called to be, whether it's college, military, work, whatever it is. And so I hope it's encouraging for you today, if you're a new homeschool mom and dad, to see, get a glimpse into Abbie's family's life and Veronica's family's life and their children and where they are now. I think that's really encouraging. So we're going to go back. Now we're going to the very beginning of homeschooling, and we're going to talk to that mom who is maybe listening. A friend told her about the podcast. Her children are still in school, and she's thinking, I've got to get them out of school. I need to homeschool them. Is it too late? Abbie, what do you think? Is it too late at this point in the school schedule to pull your kids out?
It is not. So Veronica and I are in two different states. I'm in Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania is a higher regulation state as far as homeschooling. But built into our laws are actual ways, like a legal way to withdraw your student from school and turn in paperwork, and you can start homeschooling at any point of the year. Um, the actual information can be found on HESLDA's website for how to withdraw your student. But that's pretty much for every state. You can always withdraw your student. You're not locked in for the entire year. So it is never too late to start homeschooling if you've started at a school and decide to change your mind.
And you think they can start a month or 6 weeks late and still be good with the school year?
Absolutely. You do
Okay.
so much more in homeschooling than they do in school that you could start halfway through the year and still finish ahead.
So, Veronica, what say ye? How do you feel? Do you feel like it's too late to start homeschooling?
No, not at all. I exactly what Abbie said. It's absolutely not too late. And yeah, the state homeschooling organizations, at least ours here, is fantastic about helping. You
So
pull your
you're in
child out and
Texas,
know.
right?
I'm in Texas.
Okay,
Yes.
so y'all are at ends of the opposite ends of the spectrum in
Mhm.
terms of how easy it is in your particular states to homeschool. Let's talk for just a minute to moms and dads. I think we live in a social media age where if you go online, you're going to see the beautiful homeschool classrooms and the terrific days that everybody has. But there are just a lot of periods in life where you may have a sick child, an unmotivated child, a child who loves schoolwork, like Abbie's oldest daughter, and maybe a child who hates schoolwork. And so if you're homeschooling now and you saw all of the perfect homeschool examples on social media and real life is hitting, you have a child who doesn't want to do his work, or she doesn't want to do her work, or she doesn't want to settle down. Maybe there's ADHD involved. What do you say to the parent? I'll kick this to you first, Veronica. What do you say to the parent who started in September and is struggling to get their child motivated to work?
I think motivation, the beginning of the school year, like for me, I was the kid that loved school. I got excited for the first day of school. I still do. I celebrate that more than the last day of school. Not because I'm dreading having my kids with me. I love having them with me. I just like school. Um, I'm weird. It's fine. Um, so we just, but at the beginning of the school year, everything is new. Everything is exciting. They have new textbooks. They have maybe in our home, sometimes they have new video teachers, new activities. So it's all like kind of that new, fun, unknown. And at this point, like it's becoming commonplace. This is what we do every day. It's not new and fun anymore. And it's starting to get harder. Like all the review is done. They're getting into new concepts. So honestly, it's perfectly normal. There are days I get up and don't want to do school. um, you know, as much as I do enjoy it, there are just days that it's like, oh, this again. I mean, there are days I get up and don't wanna do the dishes. I don't want to, clean the house, do the laundry, whatever, fill in the blank, whatever it is. There are days that I don't wanna do those things, so it's perfectly normal. But, when it's an ongoing thing, I think sometimes it's time for a heart check. And, what is it that what is their motivation? Why, in our house, it's not optional. We do school every day. This is what we do. We do what we're supposed to do each day. And, that's our responsibility. And so there is some duty in it. I definitely want there to be joy, but, sometimes it's not all fun. Sometimes it's hard and it's okay that it's hard. And, you know, you don't have to like it, but you still have to do it.
As homeschooling moms, we talk about the verse a lot that says, "Don't grow weary in well doing, because in due time you will reap what you sow if you don't grow weary." Well, the same thing applies to our kids. I mean, we don't necessarily quote that verse at them. Maybe we do, depending
Yeah,
on
we
their
do.
age. But there is that principle of persevering in Scripture, which is precious to the Lord and important. So, Abby, what do you think?
I mean, I agree with Veronica. That's pretty much how we do things. As far as the whole like ADHD distraction type thing goes, my youngest is notorious for forgetting what she's doing as she's doing it. Um, like she'd be in the middle of a class, get up to get a drink, and wander away because she forgot that she came from the schoolroom. So I invested in this weird little schedule timer thing from Amazon, and it lists her schedule out. And we use the homeschool hub with our BJU Press, but somehow that didn't help her. I don't it had the same thing, but this one is a schedule that she wrote, and every day she, like, slides this little tab that tells her she did it, and that has kept her. And I also bought her a little timer that she carries around, and I'm like, "You have 20 minutes to eat. Anything not done when that timer goes off, it's leftover." Because otherwise she would eat for, like, an hour. She would be drinking for, like, 20, 30 minutes. It was ridiculous. So that's how I function with her lack of focus, I guess you could say. I find tools for it.
Yeah, and each of our children really are different. So I love that about homeschooling is that every child is an individual, and we may have a family schedule that works for the family, and we help each child meet it in the way that God has gifted them. The way you homeschool is unique to your family. But what I see with you, and I want to talk about this for a minute, is that using the BJU Press homeschool curriculum gave you each the structure you needed for your lives, gave your children the opportunity to have a worldview that supported their faith instead of challenged it. And I mean, this critical thinking thing, I can't spend enough time on that. So I want to talk about BJU Press Homeschool for a minute. You're both homeworks consultants, and you work with parents who use the curriculum, but you also just answer their questions, just like you've been doing today, just talking about homeschooling. So tell us a little bit. Veronica, you start this time with why you chose BJU Press Homeschool, and explain to us a little bit the videos versus the parent. We call it parent led. I think everything we do is parent led. So the way that you can use the textbooks and teach the course, or use the videos.
I truly believe it was of the Lord that we chose BJU Press because, I'm a researcher, so when I started, I was looking at all of the catalogs, all of the different curriculum choices that were out there, talking to all of the people I knew that homeschooled. And so I had gone into our first homeschool convention and I had put together my list of the best homeschool curriculum. And it's funny because, I had BJU Press on there for a couple of subjects, but I was like, "I've got this. I'm gonna piece this all together." Um, and we were kind of circling the convention hall, where they have all of the curriculum, and, we had gone in before, and we had prayed about it that, we would make wise choices, both financially and for our daughter, um but we just kind of kept circling, and I kept going back to the BJU Press booth, and I kept looking at the curriculum, and, I mean, I think some of it was I had used it, so it was familiar, and I thought, "If I have to teach it, I have to understand it." I didn't know at the time that there were video courses, so I was just like, "Okay, if I have to teach this," and BJU Press just made the most sense. It checked every single box that I wanted as far as, biblical worldview, critical thinking, um difficulty or challenge for my kids. I wanted them to learn how to learn, not just memorize a bunch of facts and be able to recite it back. I wanted them to be able to ask good questions to, when we're done, when there isn't a textbook or a video teacher in front of them telling them this is what you need to know for the test. um, I wanted them to learn where to go when they needed to know something, how to find that information and how to discern whether it was good information. So BGU Press just checked every single box in so many more ways than I even could have asked for. As far as the video courses, once I found out about those, my reaction was a little bit mixed because I kinda thought, well, if I'm letting somebody else do the teaching, I'm somehow avoiding my responsibility to homeschool my kids. And then my oldest decided she wanted to learn French. She decided in 5th grade that French was going to be her foreign language. And I'm like, I grew up in California. We ministered at a church in Arizona. I now live in Texas. I mean, Southwest United States, you learn Spanish. Like, that's just what you do. That's what I learned. Where did this come from? Well, BJU Press at the time had a French course and a video course for it, and so I was like, "All right, I guess we're gonna have to do the video course because there is no way I'm gonna be able to teach this child French." Um, and that was kind of our entry into the video courses, but, as a consultant, I talked to one of our video teachers, and her explanation of what the video teachers do. And, she was just as patient with me as she, is at conventions with other parents explaining the process and was just so sweet about it. And she said, we're not there to take your job away from you. We're there to help you do it better. And she used the example of when the Israelites were fighting the Amalekites. And she said, when Moses was standing up there and he would raise his arms, they would have victory. And when he would get tired and put his arms down, they would lose. And she said, and Aaron and Hur came and held his arms up. She said, that's what we're doing. Our job is to come alongside tired homeschool moms and help you keep your arms up. And just that picture has stuck with me. And my kids adore their video teachers. I still do some of the teaching because I enjoy it. I enjoy that FaceTime with my kids. There are subjects I love and I'm passionate about, but I also have, a backup. I have these amazing people to be a substitute teacher when I'm sick or when I'm busy or out of town. I have somebody to explain math and science concepts that I still struggle to understand, and, explaining it would not go well for anybody. Um, and so it's like, I feel like I get the best of both worlds with the video courses. They have just enriched and expanded our homeschooling, um, experience in ways that, it's given me and my kids both, expertise and experiences that, I don't think I could have done alone. It's really become kind of a team effort, and they are just all the video teachers have become such a valuable part of our family. I mean, these are the people I would have handpicked. I mean, I guess in a way did, but these are the people I would have picked to influence my kids. I've loved hearing them on the video lessons. I've loved talking to them in person, and getting to know them and hearing their heart for the Lord, hearing them encourage. I've got math teachers encouraging my kids in their spiritual walk, to honor God. I've got science teachers teaching the importance of a biblical worldview. I, I mean, these are not subjects you normally would associate with biblical encouragement in a general education sense. And these teachers, it just overflows out of them when you talk to them. And it's just, that's who they are, not just on the video, but in person.
Right. So, well, thank you for explaining that to us. And I know that, Abbie, you've used the videos a lot as well. So, tell us how you chose BJU Press Homeschool and how it really supports you in your homeschooling and meets your goals, just like Veronica explained that to us for her family.
So, like I said, I knew I wanted to homeschool. That was pretty much as far as my thought process had gone because I didn't have kids yet. So when Mike and I were engaged and talking about future plans, I, it was kind of a compromise to use the videos for us because he didn't want to homeschool because he knew weird homeschoolers as a kid. Like, so he was like, okay, well, and I have to explain. He was the IT director for Precept Marketing, which is the company that represents BJU Press. So he knew all about these videos. I'd never even heard of them because my mom, when she homeschooled us, picked what she found each year. So she was a teacher. So she would use whatever resources she found and teach us based on what she knew. And those textbooks she found were just the work texts. It wasn't like teaching her how to teach, basically. I, on the other hand, am a violin teacher, but I did not have an elementary education degree. I didn't actually know how to teach all these things. I could have probably figured it out, but my problem is I would hyperfixate on things and I would go to the point where I would like beat it to death because I was so focused on this one specific concept. And then I'd be like, okay, I'm bored now. Like, let's not do science for the rest of the year because I'm done. That's what I would do. I'm just being honest.
Well,
So
no, it's good to hear. It's really good to hear your stories.
I I like history. So for me, I probably would have just gone nuts with history, and all we would have done for like 3 years in a row was just history. Um, and you can't really educate your kid that way. That's not going to work. So when Mike told me, yeah, we could homeschool, but you're going to use the video courses because that way we know that they're getting a well-rounded education. It's going to work because you aren't a teacher, and then you can just be there and help. I was like, oh, okay, that sounds good. So we did, and I loved it, and the kids did really well with it.
One thing I think about the videos that we can explain is that they're really not done. It's not a picture of a classroom with all the kids raising their hands and seeing the behavior problems and whatever, and the teacher teaching to a classroom. It's the teacher teaching to one child. And so it's very focused. They are not 45-minute segments. Most of the time, I'd say they're 20-minute segments, maybe 25, depending. They're graphics. So they bring in experts that they talk to. They just do a lot of interesting things with the video classes. It's really pretty amazing. And it's K through 12. Almost every subject. So tell us a little bit, Abbie, since I'm talking to you, and then I'll flip this back to Veronica. Tell us a little bit about the hub because BJU Press Homeschool has a technical calendar. It's so much more than a calendar, but it's really a gift to homeschool parents using the curriculum. I mean, it's just second to none, and it's free once you use the curriculum, even if it's just one course. So tell us a little bit about the hub, Abbie.
So the homeschool hub is, like Zan said, it's a free resource. It does all the scheduling for you. You put your BJU Press courses in. If you're using the video courses, that's where they are. You can schedule out your year. It's adjustable. The calendar reschedule features are amazing. You can keep your it like if you mess up a few days where you're sick, or you just didn't get around to doing everything because you planned field trips, or you decided that your Mondays are better spent out of the house running your children everywhere, you could just shift all those lessons, and it keeps up with you, and you can keep up with your schedule that way. It gives you so in Pennsylvania, we need to have an end of year report for 180 days of education. And the hub has been amazing for that because I can just print off a report and it shows me 180 days of everything we did, or more than 180 days if we did more than 180 days. So rather than me trying to keep a physical schedule every day and going back through the year and be like, oh my word, do we get 180 days? I have this calendar that I just print out, and it's great. I love it.
That is really amazing. Well, listen, as we wind up, tell people where they can find you if they'd like to get a hold of you.
Sure. So I am on the homeschool help map. It's the homeschoolhelp.com/map. I'm in Pennsylvania, so you'd click Pennsylvania, you could find my little dot. I also have a Facebook page. It is Homeworks by Precept Consultant Abbie Knott, I think.
Great. That's
The
perfect. And
Abbie.
if you had one piece of advice you'd like to give homeschool moms and dads this year, what would it be?
Don't try and compare your homeschool to anybody else's homeschool. It is not going to work. You are your own family, and what works for everyone else that you're seeing on social media may not work for you in the same way. So just don't worry even about like what other people's schoolrooms look like, or what they've got their kids doing in the order wise. Like that's not going to help you. Um, Other than make you feel like you're doing something wrong, because their kids are not your kids, their house is not your house, their schedule is not your schedule.
Amen to that. Amen. Well, Abby, thank you so much for being with us. And Veronica, I'm going to ask you the same thing. Just tell us a little bit about the hub and what that's meant in your life, and give us one piece of advice, that you would like to give homeschool moms.
Yeah, the hub has been a game changer. We started doing video courses while my younger ones were doing a lot of parent-led. My older one was doing video courses in high school, and um I was going all over the place. I had a grade book for the younger ones. I had the video courses for my older one, and the hub has just streamlined everything. I have everybody's courses, schedules, lesson plans all in one place. Um, the video courses are there. They can check off. It is so great for helping them to be independent. Like Abby said, um, giving them some independence and some, autonomy over their schedule and responsibility. Um, they check off their boxes. I can check up and keep them accountable with what they're doing, but it's all right there in front of them. So, that has been fantastic. We are on the go, maybe not as much as Abby, but a lot, for us. But with my 3 younger ones, they're doing a lot of waiting. They're, in the car or sitting in the back of their other siblings' lessons or practices, and, we bring school with us, and the Homeschool Hub Lite app, is just an amazing new tool for that because they can have a tablet, they can have my phone. We don't even need to have Wi-Fi. So like I'll make sure I download whatever the next couple of days worth of lessons are so they can work ahead if they want. They can watch their video courses while waiting for their brother's basketball or their sister's violin lesson. And it helps us to stay on track and not get behind. So that's been another really fantastic tool. Um,
Well, that is great. When I first heard of the hub, we called it painless planning, happy homeschooling, which
yes.
is so true. I was talking to a friend of mine who homeschooled in the early days for us, and she said, I would just tell young moms today, be thankful they did not have to go through the pain of planning like we did, and it's so
Yes.
true.
Yeah, I
Uh,
did a lot of paper planning before it came out, and the fact that you can plug in all of your BJU Press courses, you can plug in the dates that you're starting, you can plug in days off. We'll be taking off my daughter's birthday in a couple days, and just reschedule everything very seamlessly. I have messed up so many courses and push things, into next year. And it's scary because you're like, where did everything go? It's not impossible to fix. There's a lot of features that are in there just to help make sure that you've got it all in front of you. You're organized, they're organized. But I'm not cutting and pasting and crossing out and throwing papers away and redoing it mid-year. It's just, oh, look, we got a little bit behind. Click.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, listen, as we finish up today, do you have one piece of encouragement you'd like to give to homeschool moms? And then you can tell us where they can find you.
I will echo what Abby said. The comparison trap is so easy to fall into. You start to see what other people are doing, and that's not what your family looks like. Maybe their kids are excelling in areas that yours aren't. Maybe they don't seem like they have any struggles. I assure you they do. Um, they absolutely do. We do. We deal with bad attitudes. We deal with sinful hearts. All of us, myself included. Homeschooling is such a reflection of your heart and your kids' hearts. And I look at those days as just an opportunity to have sometimes hard, but gospel conversations with them. It is one of, I think, the biggest blessings of homeschooling is just being able to be in my kids' lives and know my children. They are not the same as my friends' kids. They are not the cookie cutter homeschool. I don't know that there really is one
Is
like I
such a
thought there
thing.
was.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. They're just, they're such unique individuals that God has blessed me and my family with, and I have the opportunity to get to know them. And I feel like, especially this year, I'm very aware of how short that time is. So enjoy the time with the kids that God has given you. Don't grow weary of doing well. That is sometimes it's going to be hard work, but it's absolutely worth it to watch your kids thrive and walk with the Lord.
Amen. Well, how can people find you if they want
Um,
to?
homeschoolhelp.com/Veronica-Whitley is my website. I'm also on the homeworks map, homeschoolhelp.com/map, and then click on Texas. And at Facebook, it's facebook.com/VWhitleyHWP.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. I want to thank you and Abby so much for being with me today and experimenting with how we can do this with three of us. It's been a lot of fun. And I want to thank you for joining us on the Zan Tyler podcast. We pray for you and your family and that God will continue to bless you in your homeschooling journey. As always, you can find me at zantyler.com and on social media. Until next time, bye.